What's up, guys? It is officially summertime now. The weather is finally starting to get hot and gross. We're heading into July, and that means that it is now halfway through the year. So with that being said, I would like to tell you guys my top 10 most anticipated horror movies for the remainder of 2023. These are not going to be in order of my personal preference and what I'm most excited about. These are going to be in the order of their release date, or some of them what I assume will be close to their release date. First half of 2023 has been pretty decent so far. Not super exciting to me compared to last year, but there's been some bangers. We got Scream 6, Megan, Cocaine Bear, Evil Dead Rise, and we've got some pretty big releases coming out throughout the rest of the year, so that's exciting. But these are my top 10 that I am most excited about. Alright, coming in at number 1, we've got Insidious: The Red Door. This movie is being released on July 7th, but I have a feeling that by the time I put this video out, it will already be released. But as of filming this, I still gotta wait another week. But I am very excited for this one though, because this Insidious movie is directed by Patrick Wilson. And if you're unaware, Patrick Wilson is the actor that plays the dad in the first few Insidious movies. And he's also in all of the Conjuring movies. I don't know why I can't remember what the names of those two are. But this is really cool. I think that this is his directorial debut. And please correct me if I'm wrong on that. I tried to look up his directing credits and this was the only thing that came up, so I think this is his first one, which is super cool. He's been in plenty of horror and I'm really excited to see what direction he takes this, what kind of, stylistic choices he's gonna make. The first two movies, the writing and directing was all James Wan and Leigh Whannell. The third one was just Leigh Whannell writing and directing. And then the last one was directed by Adam Robitel. I'm gonna have to rewatch all of the previous movies before I go see this one. I already rewatched the first one a couple months ago, I think. So that one's out of the way, and I liked it as much as I remember liking it the first time many years ago when I saw it. But the second, third, and fourth movies, specifically mostly the second and third movies, I literally don't remember at all. Like, I have absolutely no recollection of what these movies were about. Even though I don't totally remember the fourth one, I do remember that I didn't like it. I thought it was lame, I thought it was boring. So I think that's another reason why I'm excited for this new one, because I know that I like the original so much, and I don't remember the next two, but the last in those four was just so disappointing. So now I'm like excited that maybe this will be like a redemption. I do think that the amount of sequels and reboots all of these very popular horror movies are getting is getting a little out of hand and is a little unnecessary. But to me, I feel like in the Insidious series, it's just such a fun concept that I don't mind them continuing to explore it. As long as they do it justice, I feel like this is deserving of being like a big franchise. All right, next up on the list at number 2, we have Cobweb. This movie comes out on July 21st and is directed by Samuel Bowden. Now this one I am also very excited about. I saw the trailer for the first time, I think when I saw The Boogeyman, but I thought this one actually looked pretty scary. You've got a little boy that hears knocking inside of his walls, and his mom is a little creepy. To me, this seems like it's gonna be a super creepy possession movie. I don't actually know if that's the direction that this is gonna go, but that's just what it feels like to me watching the trailer. I know this is kind of a weird thing to say from just watching a trailer, but I feel like the acting performances in this movie are gonna be really good. And I really like movies where the parents are like possessed or like out of their mind or whatever, and they just are really like creepy and weird, because then putting yourself in the shoes of a little kid is really scary and unnerving and uncomfortable. I think this one's gonna be good, and I think this one is going to be effective for me, but I don't know, we'll see. I'll probably do a review for this one, probably several of these actually, probably Insidious as well. And I just realized I didn't mention this, but I don't actually know the plot of the new Insidious movie, so I'm kind of going in blind. All right, next up at number 3, we've got Talk to Me. This movie is to be released on July 28th and is directed by Danny and Michael Filippo. I apologize if I butchered that last name. I literally could not find a proper pronunciation anywhere. So I think I also saw the trailer for this for the first time when I was watching The Boogeyman, and I was somewhat excited and somewhat nervous because this looks like it has potential to be a really good movie, but it also feels like some of the writing could be bad. And before I get into that, I want to say that the directors of this movie are YouTubers, apparently. They are Australian YouTubers who have a channel called Raka Raka, or Raka Raka, I don't know. And they make horror comedy videos. I have yet to check them out, so I have no opinion on these people's content whatsoever. I definitely will make sure to do that though before I go see the movie. But I thought that was really interesting. I'm assuming this is their first like feature-length film debut, and I was a little surprised to see that the directors were YouTubers because this movie looks like it has a pretty decent budget. And for first-time feature-length filmmakers, that seems like a lot of money to entrust in these people to make a decent movie. But again, I don't know anything about them. They could be like super wildly successful on YouTube. They probably are. They probably also, I don't know, make a lot of money from what they do already. But it is an A24 film, so, you know, it's like the indie production company. I don't think you can call it indie anymore though. Okay, so a quick little synopsis. A group of teens learns how to conjure spirits using an embalmed hand. And when they become obsessed with it, bad things start to happen. Okay, so back to my like first impressions of the trailer. I cannot tell if this movie is going to be good or not. And I know that that can be said for literally any movie that you see a trailer for, obviously, because you're not seeing the whole movie. But usually from a 2-minute trailer, you can kind of make an assumption of what like the overall vibe of the movie is going to be. So while watching the trailer, I kept flipping back and forth between thinking, this looks like it's going to be very creative and interesting, and then thinking, this looks like a teen scream, this looks like a popcorn flick, this looks like a movie that's very teen. And not just because there's teenagers in it, but it kind of gives off like Wish Upon vibes. And I might be totally off on that. I'm left very confused on what to expect from this movie. I think that even if it is like kind of a cheesy movie that's like, you know, more of a popcorn flick, not great writing, not very good dialogue, I'll still enjoy watching it. I still like those kinds of movies, not because I think that they're good, but because I think that they're entertaining. Also, it was a little more confusing because this is an A24 film, and we don't usually see popcorn flicks or like teen screams from A24. They're usually really good movies or very artsy and creative. So when I saw this trailer and I was getting that vibe, I don't know what to think. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how I feel after walking out of the theater. All right, coming in at number 4, I think I have a movie that I haven't seen anyone talk about. I wasn't even aware of it until I started planning out this video. But that movie is Elevator Game. This movie is to be released on August 11th exclusively on Shudder and is directed by Rebecca McKendry. And this is about the famous internet ritual. I had to use air quotes on all of those because I don't know how to properly describe it. But I know this to be referred to as a ritual like the Midnight Man and I don't remember what it's called. There's one with like you make a doll and you stuff it with rice and put it in the bathtub and then you like go turn on the TV. Anyway, it's about the ritual of the same name, the Elevator Game. And you probably know about this if you've ever been into like creepy supernatural like rituals or things like creepypastas or just scary stories on the internet in general or like Reddit specifically. But this is really exciting for me because I used to be very intrigued by this stuff. I still am. I just don't like actively look into this stuff as often as I used to. I used to frequent r/3kings, which is just, it's all complete and total bullshit. But regardless, I really love stuff like this, and it's really fun to pretend that it's real. Just the thought of being able to do these silly little things and then somehow that like contacts the other side is just, it's a fun thought. It's fun. So in the Elevator Game, you are supposed to enter an elevator alone and try to make sure that like nobody else gets on with you. And then you have to follow some very specific steps. And then if you get all that right, if you do it all the right way, it's supposed to like take you into another world. You have to like push buttons in like a certain order and stuff. And then I think at some point someone's supposed to walk in the elevator with you, but they're like not human and you're not supposed to look at them. You have to like avoid eye contact. But that's all I remember. I actually just remembered that they made a Midnight Man movie, but I never saw it. I remember that the ratings for that movie were extremely low, and I know it's not going to be a good movie, but I do want to watch it anyway. But the elevator game is probably also going to be really bad. I do not have high hopes for this movie. I'm making the assumption now that it's going to be really bad, just like all the other times that people try to make like internet creepypasta based kind of movies. Actually, now that I think about it, that was successful one time with the TV show Channel Zero, where each season was based on a different creepypasta. And that's actually one of my favorite horror series ever. Actually, probably number one, to be honest. So you can do it well. So elevator game, Rebecca McKendry, I'm counting on you. Please make this decent. Next up at number 5, everyone's excited about this one. We've got Five Nights at Freddy's, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. This is going to be released on October 27th and is directed by Emma Tammy. Everybody knows about this. Everybody knows about Five Nights at Freddy's. If you are into horror in any way, you know about Five Nights at Freddy's. If you're not into horror and you use the internet, you know about Five Nights at Freddy's. And if you don't, then you're probably like 45, and that is not a diss. Just an observation. This one's gonna be super popular with the younger crowd. You're gonna have a lot of kids going with their parents, and then you're gonna have a lot of younger teenagers going with their friends, which I think is really fun. I think we are long overdue for a horror movie that is intended for a very young audience. I feel like we used to get those a lot more frequently, but we don't anymore, and this is really exciting. I know that they made like a Spirit Halloween horror movie for kids last year, but I don't think it got a theatrical release or anything, and I don't think it was good. This looks super fun. I'm actually really excited for this. I'm not super into FNAF lore. I've played the second game like a couple times. I don't know about any of the games that came after that. It's been like a really long time since FNAF came out. I actually don't remember when. But when it first got popular, I was watching the Markiplier videos when he was uploading them very frequently. But speaking of Markiplier, I feel like a lot of people are probably really upset that he's not in this movie. I swear a while back he was like saying that he was going to like have something to do with the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. This is like, I think like several years ago. But now he's not part of it at all. I just realized that someone is using a very loud yard tool outside, so I apologize, and I'm gonna try to wait until that stops. Okay, I think we're good now. Anyway, even though this movie has a giant Markiplier-sized hole in it, people are still really excited about the cast. Josh Hutcherson is the main character, and I have not seen this dude in a movie in a really long time. I want to say the last thing I've seen him in was the last Hunger Games movie, but we love that guy. It's great to see him in something new. He gets to be the main character. I think it's going to be really fun. Matthew Lillard is also in this movie, and he is beloved by many, many people, having played Stu Macher in Scream and Shaggy in the live-action Scooby-Doo movies, and plenty of others too, but those are just the two big ones for me. Now, I am not well-versed in the world of Five Nights at Freddy's, and I do not know any like FNAF YouTubers or streamers or anything like that, but from what I was seeing, it seems like a FNAF YouTuber has a small part in this movie, which is really cool. And also in the background of one of the scenes, there's like an Employee of the Month placard on the wall, and all of the employees are Five Nights at Freddy's YouTubers or streamers, which is also really cool. It's really nice that they are including that in there. I mean, it's a big reason why the game is so popular. I did see a lot of people actually very happy with the way that the animatronics looked in this movie and how they actually look like animatronics. I feel like an outlier in this. I don't think they look very good. I don't think they look enough like animatronics. The realisticness is really lacking, so that's a little disappointing. I always prefer when things look like they've been done practically. I just think it makes everything a lot more effective, and it just looks a lot cooler and more like magical. I also really appreciate that they did not stray from the original designs of the characters. All of the animatronics look like they are literally straight out of the game, and I think that that is the way to do it. All right, coming in at number 6, releasing the same day as Five Nights at Freddy's, it is Saw X, aka Saw 10. Yeah, there's 10 of them now. This one is directed by Kevin Grutart, who is actually one of the editors for Saw 1 through 5 and Jigsaw, and he also directed Saw 6 and 7, aka Saw 3D. That's pretty promising to me. I feel like Saw 6 was one of the really good ones. I think it's pretty up there in most people's ranking of all of the Saw movies. Saw 3D, not so much. I think I liked it more than most people. Okay, something that every Saw fan is going to be excited about. In Saw 10, we are going to see the return of Shawnee Smith. who plays the very beloved Amanda Young. So I'm looking forward to that. I love her character. This movie is set to take place between Saw 1 and Saw 2, and it's going to surround a corrupted doctor that is selling miracle treatments to desperate people, which I'm not mad about. I think most people want to see the return of all of the original characters and continue to build on that storyline, even though it's already been done so much. I feel like I'm probably the only one that's actually a little disappointed that we are not seeing a follow-up to Spiral. I don't know that it's never gonna happen, but after Spiral, I was anticipating that the next movie was gonna be a sequel to Spiral. But it's not. We're going way back. And most people are gonna be happy about that. Most people did not like Spiral. I am one of the outliers. I actually really enjoyed Spiral. I liked the new direction that they went with it. I liked the idea of having like a new revival Jigsaw who like actually has a decent moral compass and isn't just punishing people for being depressed or being an addict. And it ended on a cliffhanger. So the decision for the next movie to not be a continuation of Spiral was a little surprising to me, to be honest, but definitely in most people's best interest. I am really excited for this though. I'm really excited to see more Tobin Bell as John Kramer. I think they've heard the feedback. I think they know what works and what doesn't, and I'm trusting them to make this another really great classic Saw movie. It is one of my favorite horror franchises, so I don't want to be disappointed. All right, next up at number 7, we've got Thanksgiving. It is releasing on November 17th, and it is directed by Eli Roth. So I have not seen most of Eli Roth's movies. I have not seen Hostel, and it's not because I have like an aversion to it or anything. I'm totally fine with watching disturbing movies to a limit. I just haven't gotten around to it, but I have seen Cabin Fever and Green Inferno, and Green Inferno was gnarly. Honestly, probably one of the most gory movies I've seen. I think that's safe to say. So this is actually based on a fake trailer that he made for the Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez double feature Grindhouse in 2007, which I also haven't seen yet, but I will get around to it. So as you can assume from the title, this is going to be a movie about Thanksgiving. It's going to be a slasher, and I'm assuming it's going to be really gritty and grimy and gruesome and gross, which I am really looking forward to. As far as I know, there's only one other Thanksgiving horror movie. It's called Pilgrim, and I saw it a few years ago, but this is definitely not a holiday that we get movies for frequently. All right, moving on to number 8 on this list. There's Something in the Barn. It is expected to be released on November 10th, according to IMDb, and it's directed by Magnus Martins. So this one is a holiday horror movie, and I just realized that the release date for this is actually a week before Thanksgiving, but I put them in this order because my brain just assumed that's what order it went in because Thanksgiving comes before Christmas. But this is a Christmas horror movie. I don't know where it's going to be released. I don't know if it's going to get a theatrical release. The same also applies to Thanksgiving, but this one is not very popular. I haven't seen anybody talk about it, but it's about an American family who inherits a farmhouse in Norway and crosses paths with a tricky creature from Nordic folklore, the barn elf. I don't know who this quote is from. I just found it on an article and it didn't really source anybody. But apparently this movie is described as Gremlins meets Home Alone meets National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, which sounds great to me. I love all of those movies. I'm hoping that when they mention Home Alone and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, they're implying that it's going to be really silly and comedic. I do not know the folklore, but I love a good, funny Christmas horror movie. All right, we're getting close to the end here. At number 9, we've got VHS 85. The release date is still to be announced, but like the several previous VHS installations, it's going to be released on Shudder. I don't really have a lot to say about this one. VHS is an anthology series, so all of the movies are compiled of several different short horror stories by different directors. The only thing that we do know is that all of the stories in this movie are going to take place in 1985. The last 2 movies we got were the 90s. Like all of the other VHS movies, there were some installments that I liked, and then some that I didn't think were that great. So this one I know is already going to be the same. I would be very surprised if I actually really liked every single one, but I am excited that we're getting an 80s one. I know a lot of people are sick of the 80s thing now. We've been doing a lot of 80s throwbacks recently, and I understand that that can get tiring, but I don't really mind. All right, the very last movie on my list, number 10, is The Strangers. The release date is still to be announced, and it's directed by Penny Harlan. So I didn't know until planning this video that we were going to be getting another Strangers movie. I think the first one's really good. I don't love it as much as some people do, but the remake they did back in 2018 kind of sucked. So this is actually going to be a trilogy to reboot the original film, and they're all being filmed consecutively. I guess their intention is to expand the world of the original Strangers movie. As far as I know, all 3 movies are going to star the same 2 protagonists, which sounds pretty interesting actually. I like that it's all one vision for all 3 movies and not just them writing one and then trying to figure out how to continue the story in the next one. But I don't... What are you doing? But I don't understand how they're going to expand that much of such a small storyline into so much movie. Like, if all 3 are starring the same 2 protagonists, then it's all like one big storyline. And I can't fathom how they're going to make that into 3 separate movies and make it interesting. But I don't know, they might do something wild and crazy with it that nobody's expecting. I have no idea. I'm hoping that they do that. I can't imagine them not doing anything like that because it just wouldn't make sense. And they're obviously very confident in it since they are filming 3 movies consecutively without having any idea if the first one is even going to be successful or not. So I commend them for that, and it does make me more excited to see this because they've got to have like a really interesting idea going on. Otherwise it would be stupid and pointless. But sometimes filmmakers do shit that's stupid and pointless. All right, I think I've talked about this enough. That is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned about some new releases that you weren't aware of before. Let me know in the comments which one of these you're most excited to see, and also let me know if there's another movie coming out this year that you're really excited for that I didn't mention. And if you did enjoy this video, please give it a like, and if you are interested in seeing more of me, hit that subscribe button. I am a new channel and I only have a few videos so far, but I will be making more and doing it consistently. All right, and with that, I hope to see you next time. Bye.